Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here and continuing this journey together. As I do not tire of telling you, I am grateful and increasingly so for these few minutes together each week that represent for me, and I hope for you, an island of sanity and comfort in a world that seems too often beyond our control and our power to even understand. It is that inability to understand and the rate at which information changes that makes so many of us feel confused, lost, left out, helpless, and even somewhat incompetent, even though we may lead exceedingly competent lives. Add to that a world that seems currently ruled by negative currents, and a few moments of escape are a true gift. With gratitude for the ability to choose, to choose to shape our day with a positive trajectory. Let us take our first break to breathe. And forgive my technological glitches. So let us find our meditative postures. Most of us, I expect, are in a chair, maybe standing, maybe lying down. And let us just alter our gaze somewhat, just softly looking into what is in front of us, but not focusing on anything in particular. Or we might choose to close our eyes. And then just trying to put our whole body into a place of both ease and attentiveness, of repose, and yet still of presence. So let us release the things that get in our way of those goals. Perhaps uncreasing our foreheads, allowing smiles and frowns to leave our faces, and just allowing the muscles to be neutral, our jaws just to hang without the responsibility of holding our heads together, so to speak. Let us allow our tongues to lazily lay in the jaws of our mouths. And I'd already begun kind of unkinking the neck kinks. For me, my Achilles heel is in my neck. I don't know if any of you have a similar situation, or your Achilles heel, maybe your shoulders, your tummy, your heels themselves, which is always possible. A couple of rolls to remind ourselves that our heads do move. They don't need to be held in a certain place, in a certain posture. And we can scrunch up our shoulders and just let them go. Flap our elbows and our arms in the process. Loosen our wrists, wiggle our fingers. And then turn our attention inside, just allowing our throats to kind of hang open, not to be swallowing, not to be talking, just allowing what we will concentrate on is the breath going in and out. Let us release our tummies, our waists, the insides of us, our guts, as it were, that hold on so tightly as if for dear life. And if it helps to gently rub your tummy, your diaphragm, by all means do so. You probably don't do it enough or do it at all. And you might take both of your hands and kind of smooth out your thighs in a comforting and releasing gesture. If you like, you could flap your knees back and forth. You could take one leg at a time and kind of just let it hang, twirl the ankle, wiggle the toes. One leg, then the other leg. And let us just breathe easily, but with focused attention on that breath that miraculously goes in and out of us. I heard the statistic, I can't repeat it, but I think it was 25,000 plus times a day. A day. We breathe 25,000 times a day. You may want to take a big breath and then let that go. You may just want to notice how your breathing is, what the rhythm of it is, how it progresses. Does it start out quickly and slow down as you just think about it, follow it, feel it coming into your body, coming through your nostrils, down those open passages we just released a moment ago, and going out again in whatever rhythm is right for you, whatever feels right. It may feel good to take a deeper breath than usual. That's where I usually start. And I follow that breath into all the corners of my body. And then let it out again. It doesn't matter if you're breathing quickly or slowly. In a regular rhythm or a rhythm that seems to have its own pattern. Just so you're concentrating on that breath, going in and going out, coming in and going out. And you may certainly continue to breathe as I will talk a bit, as you know. From time to time, I find a piece of writing that is so insightful, moving, and wise that I want to share it with you. That is what I found to be true in a Devar Torah, a word of Torah, literally, but an interpretation of the Torah portion. On this week's Torah portion, which is entitled Vayakel, it is from the book of Exodus, towards the very end of the book of Exodus. It was written by Rabbi Hilly Haber. By weaving together contemporary story, narrative, midrash, and interpretation, she deftly creates a message of resilience and hope. Rabbi Haber begins. Mattie stood in the doorway, and an involuntary shudder went through her when she saw Seal's eyes. Dear God, she thought, she's dying, and right in front of our faces. Merciful Father, no, she bellowed. There was no prayer, no bended knee or sackcloth supplication in those words, but a blasphemous fireball that shot forth and went smashing against the gates of heaven, raging and kicking, demanding to be heard. This is an excerpt from The Women of Brewster Place by Gloria Naylor. Gloria Naylor's award-winning 1982 novel, The Women of Brewster Place, tells the story of a community through the interconnected lives of its residents. In the scene just excerpted, Mattie, an elder in the neighborhood, gently and steadily rocks Seal back to life after the loss of her child. In healing and caring for Seal, Mattie refuses to let death have the last word. Her act is one of resistance and resilience, one which affirms life and generates hope in the face of overwhelming grief. The portion Vayakhel, what we call Parshat Vayakhel, distant in time and circumstances from the women of Brewster Place, points us toward another such act of life-affirming resistance. This week's portion offers continued insight into the construction of the Mishkan, what we normally refer to as the portable sanctuary or the tabernacle, or even the tent of meeting. It is God's dwelling place in the wilderness. Rabbi Haber says what we typically refer to as the portable sanctuary. We read that highly skilled artisans use their gifts to construct and adorn a sacred space whose brilliant aesthetic reflects the individual lives woven together to form the ever-growing tapestry of an inchoate nation. Objects once mundane are repurposed for sacred service by Israelite artisans. Toward the end of the portion, we get a surprising glimpse into the life of one of these objects, the bronze wash basin that the priests will use to cleanse themselves before entering the Mishkan. We read that the artisan Bezalel made the basin and its accompanying stand from the mirrors of the women who crowded at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Where did these mirrors come from? What is their significance for the identity of the Israelite nation? What do they reflect back to us from their place in the Mishkan? Building on this fleeting reference in the biblical text, the Midrash recounts a powerful story. Pharaoh originally sought to limit Israelite population growth, not only by imposing harsh labor, but by enforcing celibacy. Pharaoh decreed against them that they should not sleep at home nor have relations with their wives. Now remember, this is not in the Torah, this is the Midrash. This is an imaginative recreation of the text that leaves out things. In response, says the Midrash, the Israelite women brought food and wine to their husbands in the field. And when they had eaten and drunk, the women would take their mirrors and look at them with their husbands. And she would say, I am more beautiful than you. And he would say, I am more beautiful than you. This playful, erotic banter aroused mutual desire. And as a result, the Israelites were fruitful and multiplied. So the whole story helps to explain how, even in the face of harsh labor, which is in the Torah, the Israelites were fruitful and multiplied, which is also in the Torah. The whole midrash about the mirrors and the women going to the fields to meet with their husbands is pure imagination and a creative interpretation of the hints in the text. Like Mattie, the midrash tells us the Israelite women refused to let death and despair have the last word. Living in an empire which devalued and dehumanized them, the women devoted themselves to creating new life. Demoralized and exhausted from their labor in the fields, they looked at their own reflections and those of their husbands and saw beauty and dignity. They saw a future, a life beyond Egypt. It was these very mirrors that the Israelite women sought to contribute to the building of the Mishkan. At first, the Midrash continues, Moses refused to accept the mirrors, dismissing them as tools of vanity. But God stepped in to teach Moses a lesson. Moses, these you despise. These mirrors raised up all those hosts of Egypt. God's words reflect a creative pun. The women who crowded, sovot in Hebrew, at the entrance to the Mishkan, generated the hosts, tzivaot in Hebrew, of Israelites who went forth from slavery. In this midrash, writes Dr. Rachel Edelman, God is seen to be on the side of women with their audacious mission to guarantee that life find a way. Forgive me, let me just get rid of this. I'm so sorry. Dr. Rachel Edelman writes that in this midrash, that God is seen to be on the side of women with their audacious mission to guarantee that life find a way, while Moses is rebuked for rejecting the mirrors. When God defends the women's donation of the mirrors against Moses's violent rejection, their significance as icons of vanity is transformed into emblems of resistance and even transformation. Even apparently insignificant details of the Mishkan structure offer insight into the evolving identity of the Israelite people. Leon Cass writes, this building project belongs to the unfolding account of the formation of the Israelite nation in its relation to the Lord and his way for humankind. On display will be not only the tabernacle, but also the various actors in the story, in their evolving place in the national project. Moses, the people, the artists, the priests, God. What is being created is more than a building. Our portion, Vayakhel, offers us more than a detailed description of a construction project. We witness the building of a national identity, a people called into being by the God of life, a people that honors the contributions of all members of the community, including those who have been pushed to the margins. It is striking that the priests, leaders, and authority figures in ancient Israel are to purify themselves each time they begin their service in the tent of meeting with water from a vessel that symbolizes defiance courageous resistance to illegitimate authority, the persistence of love, and the power of hope. In reward for the righteous women of that generation, says the Talmud, Israel was redeemed from Egypt. Redemption, our sages insist, came about only because of the deeds of righteous women. As Aviva Zornberg writes, these women act as God had done at the beginning of time. They create and nurture life. That is, in the simplest sense, the meaning of redemption. From the experiences of the women of Brewster Place and from the experiences of the Israelite women, as taught by the Midrash, we might derive a universal principle. Even in the bleakest circumstances, we are obligated to create and nurture life. The Israelite women employed the tools available to them, their mirrors, as well as courage and love, to build a better future for themselves and their children. So also are we called to use the tools available to us to resist oppression, nurture life, and work toward a vibrant and flourishing future. The mirrors, originally instruments of vanity and self-regard, were transformed into sacred vessels that would lift the entire community to the sacred purpose of generating and sustaining life. As co-authors and inheritors of Jewish tradition, we are accountable to those brave women who took their mirrors out into the fields and saw beauty and dignity in their broken down bodies, who demanded to be heard and who refused to let death have the last word. With that beautiful story filling our minds and our hearts and our spirits, let us return or continue our practice, our presence in this moment that is always filled with potential. Potential for good, potential for evil. We have the choice. Let us breathe. I am choosing to breathe in the message, the beautiful message of that story. How our ancestors could take such little phrases and turn them into whole lessons on hope, on life, on resilience, on resistance, on the belief that nothing is ever the end of the story. Let us stay with that breath, the ultimate foundation of our lives. Goes in and it goes out. And every inhalation and every exhalation is a gift. I hope you will continue to breathe on your own by way of conclusion and hopefully even inspiration for the coming days. I would share with you this poem by Derek Walcott entitled Love After Love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Let us see in our reflections potential, resilience, courage, love, hope in the coming week and in all the days beyond. God bless. I will see you next time. Thank you.